See the driving range with the bunkers on it. That's the area to the right that's green. The two players hitting a few shots.
So that birdie at the 7th for Kisner means he is leading, but now on 9 under par. It's a one-shot lead over Chris Stroud, who's one of Kisner's good friends. They're actually neighbours in their South Carolina homes. Hideki Matsuyama also on 8 under par. A little further down, Paul Casey, level par for his round today. He's 3 under, 6 back, alongside Justin Thomas, who's had an excellent round yesterday to get him right in amongst it. Level par for his round today. Rishi has been catching up with Justin Rose. Didn't make the cut this week, but he's been speaking to Rishi about the Bermuda grass.
Well, one of the big talking points at Quail Hollow this week has been the Bermuda grass that is in use at the course. So who better to talk about it than one of the great players in the world, Justin Rose. So Justin, if you could tell us why players find it a bit more difficult to deal with this surface.
Yeah, well, obviously it's certainly, you know, growing up in England, we don't experience this grass whatsoever. It's normally, you know, it grows and thrives in very hot climates. So sometimes in Florida in the winter, they'll overseed with the ryegrass, but in the summertime, they use the Bermuda. It's very hardy. But it also grows in a very, I would say, very unpredictable way, kind of in a patchy type of way. So, you know, you're always having to try and guess your lie, gauge your lie. And I find that often the ball comes out it's very unpredictable to chip out of. So I'm just throwing 2 balls here into the rough. This ball here, so obviously when I go to try and address the ball, I've almost like got a big cushion of grass behind the ball. So if you imagine when this club is coming into the ball, you see how that grass is going to get between me and the club, get between the ball and the club. So I'm going to be forced to play this like a bunker shot and take out all of that. If you keep the camera there, play this one like a bunker shot. So I've hit that. I haven't really made contact with the ball. I didn't get that click on my club face. So it's almost like the cushion of the grass has sent the ball out. So it takes a lot of commitment, especially when you're having such a short, you're almost like it's a controlled duff shot is what it is.
Right.
So there's not a ton of control on it, a bit of guesswork.
I was going to say taking out the accuracy of your normal short game, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously when you're pitching onto these incredibly quick surfaces and you get it slightly wrong and you do guess that you're not going to catch ball and then you do catch a bit of ball, obviously, you know, it's easy to chip it 20 foot past. This lie looks equally as bad, but actually when I set my club in here, I kind of feel that I'm going to get a lot more ball than that previous. So obviously when I'm swinging the club in here, I feel like by the time I get to impact, I might catch the back of that ball. So those are the situations you're facing out on the golf course. You're trying to read the lie, guess how it's going to come out. Okay. One last thing we can point out, I forgot the time.
Yes.
So if you're playing at home or if you ever face this surface and you kind of want to try and, I always try to see the changing grain with color. Obviously down grain, it looks a lot shinier, and into the grain, it looks a lot darker and a lot greener. But the other way to cheat and figure it out, if you walk up to the cup, you can see how much more frayed this edge of the hole is here, versus this has got still a nice clean cut. This is all a bit frayed, which tells me that the grain is growing in this direction here. So,
goodness.
Obviously, you know, this would be testing the surface. You're not allowed to do this.
Yes.
But for this purpose, you know, you can kind of see again how much that stands up and then comb it back down. So the grain is running in that direction, which is going with the slope for the most part.
Well, Justin, this has been revealing. I think Ken on the course might be a thing of the past very soon. Well, Rose on the range, I think.
Well, it's been Rose in the rough this week too much, I'm afraid. But yeah, Rose on the range. I'll take that one.
We'll go with Rose on the range.
Rose on the range. I tell you what, we'll have him on Country Farm next. That was good.
Very interesting. That gives you a real good idea of this Bermuda and how it affects your shots. Pitching around the greens and coming, if you've missed the fairway off the tee, very difficult to control the ball out of.
Chris Stroud to go to 8 under. He's there. He is. Top of the leaderboard. One behind. Well, that's near enough top of the leaderboard. Not far away. This fella's had an interesting day. Ken, he's appeared to have struggled, and yet he's really not lost any ground.
No one's made any real headway, and this is a good spot to get at the flag at the 8. He's laid quite a distance back, so he can get a bit of grip on it. Pin just up a little rise. Second to the 8th. Oh, he's going to try and fly all the way. I thought he might hit a little skiddy one up the bank. He's going to fly it to the flag, he hopes. That's it. Oh, I don't know.
Unlucky, that could go right off.
Not sure it was the right shot. Hitting it that hard.
Yeah, but look at that. That's not necessary, is it? That's like the 9th at Augusta. That's ridiculous. Controlling the spin. Well.
That gives you a great idea where the flag is on number 8 until that leaderboard got in the way. Now Kisner hasn't got the club head speed up. Also going with a high route, reasonably high. Going to skid once before it stops. Oh, he was also a little unlucky, but delightfully played. He's got it on the plateau again.
Rory for a birdie. Oh, we need a few of those. Nice to birdie every hole in. Look at that. Oh, the 6s and 5s. Pretty miserable.
Justin Thomas, I didn't get much of a look at him.
Well, here's a wayward one. This is exactly what Justin Rose was explaining just 5 minutes ago. Lumpy grass, never quite sure how the club is going to contact the ball. That sounded fluffy.
Well, it was extremely difficult. Actually, not. He could have got a lot worse result if it had come out fast. 12th from Shane Lowry. The green that tilts from right to left to miss the green on the left. Well, at least he's chipping up the hill.
Master Reed, Patrick. Level par. Good strike. What a great battle he had with Rory here.
Oh.
Macca at the Ryder Cup. That was not quite Nicholas and Watson, but it was pretty good.
It was Ali Fraser, wasn't it? Both of them.
Ali Fraser, yeah. He could box. Noren. Missed the target. Just off on the bank there.
17th, and Zach Johnson draws the ball in. Doesn't want to overdraw it here or be in the water. Dangerous front pin. It's turning. Has he started it far enough right? Oh, he has, but watch how this keeps going. Keeps going. Sit down, almost a perfect shot. Oh, it's going to keep going. Oh, I don't think it's going to go in the water.
Matsuyama is spinning one off the green. Oh, well done. Certainly didn't deserve to drop a shot after that very good second, which took off with a mind of its own.
Quietly going about his business today is Ricky Fowler, the 9th. Quietly going about his business. Oh my.
Jason Day. Just look at that, how that putter's put together. All sorts of fantastic shapes. One of the popular brands at the moment. Nice feel when the ball goes off the head.
And Jason was the man who implemented its design. They used to make a much bigger one, which he thought was too cumbersome, so they made a slightly smaller one, and now every man and his dog's using one. Although this is a white one, this is a red one. They come in black too.
How contemporary. John Rahm. Oh, for a par. He's let things dribble away. He was going like a cat out of hell not so long ago. Now this for a par. Doesn't want to lose another one. Oh yes. Oh no. Oh no.
Can Kisner read this one? Tricky grain. No, it fooled him completely. You can see it was dark coming into it, which means it was slow. So after an excellent second shot, just a par, but a very tidy looking card. Look at that. All 4s and 3s.
Nothing wrong with pars today, Ken. The way the course is playing. So that could be a course in Surrey, couldn't it? They're tree-lined. Woburn. Somewhere like that. I mean, you can hardly call these bunkers now, certainly not hazards. If he can knock this on the green with a good one. 205 yards. If he does put it on the green, well, that's something you're not really supposed to do. Oh, that was a good clean hit. If it's straight, must be good. Oh, unlucky. Just a bit shy in the next bunker.
'18th. And Spain's John Rahm. Oh my goodness. What a day. When you look at this card, you wouldn't believe it. It ended up going around in 71, but finishes 6, 6, 3, 6. 2 double bogeys in there. The last 3 holes are called the Green Miley, and they catch lots of people out, but that was a stab in the back if ever there was one.
That was painful.
A few under par scores, but not many. Difficult.
No, Scott Brown, great Cornish name, Scotty Brown, Hendra's Hotel, Carbis Bay, a dear friend of mine, good golfer, won the Cornish Championship. There must be a relative. There aren't many Scott Browns left in the world. Now Graham Dillett, the Canadian, long putt here. There's a big ridge runs halfway between him and the caddy holding the flag. It's flat. Now it's going up, over the top and down. Turning. Yeah, well judged. DeChambeau. I can't get over how almost grotesque he looks as he stands to the ball, but he gets the club on board pretty well. Oh, club short. Lahiri.
Like that?
Going along nicely. Spreading the golfing gospel. India, one of the oldest golfing countries in the world. He's 8 over, let things slip over the last 4 or 5 holes.
Louis Oosthuizen with some tape on his arm, but he doesn't look happy. Just stopped him in his tracks a bit. That, oh, goodness me.
No, he should have shouted 4 there. I think it really is disgraceful, the lack of etiquette now. Somebody should shout, the caddy.
They were warned on the European Tour a few weeks ago to make sure they shouted, and that was a blatant disregard.
Well, you can end up with a huge lawsuit. It's just being ridiculous. I don't know how they get away at cricket when they smash 6s into the crowd, but you watch at your own Whatever it is, discretion. Hello, did he bend that? How
Well,
did he do that?
I think, is that the one he hit against the tree or
I
something?
don't know. I know not.
I have a feeling, I'm not sure you're allowed to bend it back.
I don't know.
Not sure what's going on. There'll be someone out there ringing
He'll
in.
do his knee in a minute. Have a new kneecap before the end of the round.
Oh, was it Ben Crenshaw smashed the putter against his head, shaft broke and cut his head?
It looks as if he straightened it up.
Arm surgery, club surgery. He'll be lucky to finish this round.
Well, we saw a picture of Molinari just moments ago, then we lost him. He's in the penultimate group. And this is Matsuyama. Very inviting looking tee shot between the avenue of trees. Oh, I don't know about that. Is that in the trees? Flirting with the very edge of them. Oh, that was not very good. Deep in the pines. Squirrel's eye view.
They are majestic pines, aren't they?
Georgia pines. Remember those down in Georgia? They're beautiful. I don't know how he's going to get that on. It may go up the other fairway on the left.
Stroud, bunker on the left of 9. He's got to slice this under this ball. Pin only 7 from the edge. Wide open blade, almost horizontal the blade to dress.
Now just look where his feet are pointing. You're going to chop right across this. Oh, it's a canny shot.
Jason Day. Well, that looks, well, that's got to be left as well, hasn't it? Or is that okay? It's left, but sitting up.
Could be blocked out by the trees, but certainly better than Matsuyama's.
The cumulus has thinned out a bit. 40% chance of thunder showers today. That was lowered a bit overnight, but promising at the moment. But it's Kisner, one ahead of Matsuyama and Stroud.
This is Aresti, Omar Aresti, arranging his fingers on the shaft. I think we'll see if it goes in. Oh, no. He's quite energetic when he holds a putt.
He played the tour for quite a few years before getting a club job, a bit like the old days, Peter. Keegan Bradley coming up a little short and left, to say the least. That was from a fair distance. Green's causing problems from any distance at all.
Looking down on the 18th, so that little stream runs up the middle of the fairway. Lucas Glover, 4 over. That picked up a lot of speed en route. I thought that was going to be well short. But no.
"16 players started the day under par. Currently there's 18. The scoring not too bad, but no one tearing the place apart.
Wüsthuizen comes from the right, and disappears. Oh, what a beauty. He needed that little boost. Very good. I'm not sure that wasn't for a par. This is an extra boost. Interesting how architecture now has the greens. When you have a lake or a pond, whatever you want to call them, they stick greens around to make the most of it. I often wonder what the members think of it all when they put their 14th ball of the day in the water. But there we are. They say they love it.
Got to be hard work for the members, hasn't it?
Well, I would think so, yeah, but then most big courses are, I suppose they play off the front tees. God forbid you say the ladies' tees. I wouldn't play off the ladies' tees. Well, you'd enjoy it more. Now, Stroud, come on. It's only a tiddler.
I'm surprised there still are ladies' tees. It's everything like that sexist these days.
Oh, don't you start now, for God's sake.
Well, the scoring average coming steadily down, but of course a lot of the lesser players have exited after round 2. So you'd expect a reduction in scoring given the relatively similar playing conditions wind-wise. Course was opened in 1961, so I'm guessing a lot of these trees may have been planted around that time.
Now, somewhere down in the woods, Matsuyama is lurking about. Oh, there he is. Oh, I think this looks like a chip out. I may be wrong. It could be just a scuttle to the fairway.
Yeah, he's certainly pining for the short grass. It's quite good stuff to hit off though, this pine straw, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I'm always concerned that my feet are going to move, particularly in a place like Augusta where it's so thick and beautifully laid out under the trees when you're off the fairway. This looks pretty firm. I'd like to get a different view to see what he's doing. He could be lining this up to have a go, a big slinger. This might be a full-blooded shot by the look of it, the way he's setting up. Oh yes, that certainly wasn't a chip out. Round the trees. Oh, he's left himself a beauty now. Overdid the pull, but not a bad looking lie.
Getting the ball first, hitting down into the ground. Gave it an almighty welt, but really not in control. Short-sided himself a bit, but as Peter said, a great lie. Now his playing partners, Day and Kisner. Kisner first. Just 173 yards, probably an 8-iron. And that's a good shot.
Ricky Fowler. Oh, just died on the front of the green. Off she goes.
Day may have to manufacture something as well. Might just be able to go over the corner with just a bit of draw. He's going to aim relatively straight. So I think a bit of height and a bit of draw. Oh no, he's going under. That surprised me. Oh. Ooh, I look forward to that stance, Peter.
Yeah, tricky one. Stroud. Out in 33. It's one of the best outward nines of the day. Oh, that nestled.
Chris Wood has got to the 16th hole. One under for the day. He's doing well. If he can. Well, that's a very well manufactured shot too. Dangerous with that water.
12th now, Patrick Reed. Has to get to 2 under. He certainly gave that a confident tap. A huge swing after the hole.
And Lowry has pulled it well left at this 13th. Pin cut just 7 from the left, so just got to judge this perfectly. Oh, not sure he even went at the pin there. Tough day for Shane, 3 overs.
Final hole for Zach Johnson. He loves it. 1, 2 bogeys, 3 birdies, 4 for 70. Oh, will he love it now? He's hit it. Will he? Will he? Will he? Will he? Will he? He will. Good shot.
Already 1 triple and 7 doubles at this 18th, so pretty much causing havoc.
Fine. Okay. Kijk even naar Maarten en dan kijk of je ouders met hem voor mij. Poppy, hij zal het even bij. Okay. Of ouders met hem kunnen repairen. Ik mag hem niet change, maar ik mag hem proberen recht gaan.
Oh, we had a good listen, Peter. I think was it in Afrikaans?
It was on some strange language, but I think he was saying the club was bent. Could you get it fixed by the time I get to the next hole? I may be wrong.
You're amazing at languages.
I know, well, I am. English, Yiddish and rubbish. Fluent in all. The adventures of Matsuyama. 1 in the woods, out of the woods, over the... We didn't quite come that route. He twisted it round the fairway, hooked it about 80 yards. Now, I wouldn't fancy this. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Not a bad lie. Oh, he's played it well. He's done very well, but it's running and dribbling on and on and on. 15 foot, 14, 15. It's all been a struggle for him today.
Can Kisner extend his lead? Hang on, no. So he'll stay 1 ahead of Matsuyama and Stroud. They're quite archaic, some of these small leaderboards around the course. That one behind him there really doesn't tell you a lot. Doesn't have many players on it. He doesn't give much away, Kisner. Doesn't like to play poker with him.
Oh, this is a tricky one. Look where he's gripping, way down onto the metal. Played it well. Not a great result, but he actually got the club on the ball quite well.
It's amazing how hard you have to swing it when you go that far down the shaft. Justin Thomas at the 10th. Trouble off the tee, this is his 3rd. Oh yes, perfecto. Beauty for Thomas. Hopefully that'll take him to -4.
Fowler. Little bump up the hill. A little bit frisky. And Bud Corley, who was going so well, has had 2 bad holes, an 8 and a 6. 14 for 2 holes as we look at Day for a par. Oh, what a save. It wasn't a save. Too hard. There's a few 7s, lots of 6s.
For his birdie at 10, and Fowler was almost on the green with his 2nd shot with the wood, and it trickled away right. Poor chip, and that's a real chance wasted. Paul Casey there in the background. He's level for today after 9 holes.
Well, the weather's holding up for us. It's very sticky and steamy, and you feel as if there could be a bit of thunder at any moment, but they're tiptoeing through the day pretty well. Getting towards 10 o'clock at home, 5 o'clock here.
Well, this would be some 4. He doesn't deserve a 4, but he's got one. Oh, that's brilliant stuff.
It's been like that all the way around.
Yeah.
Look, he's only dropped 1 or 2 shots. He's dropped.
No, that's level.
Oh, that's a birdie.
Yeah.
Beg your pardon. Yeah.
Level for the 9.
Level for the 9, and he really has played some very scratchy stuff.
He has indeed.
Justin Thomas, 3 under. 4 under now with that birdie. It's going to be a very interesting day tomorrow. Justin Day for a bogey at the 9th. A little bit unlucky with his shot to the green there, just finishing on the edge of the bunker. Had really no stance at all.
Graham Dillette at 14, going for the green.
Now he's had an 8 and a 6, so 14 for 2 holes. Otherwise he'd have been going along very nicely indeed. That's a cracking shot. Oh, that would have cheered him up.
Almost went back to back.
Well, one young Englishman who's going along very nicely in his first major appearance is 24-year-old Jordan Smith. He's 1 under par for his round today. See that eagle on the 14th, the big high point for him, a round of 70. He is outside of the leaders by a wee bit, but certainly having a very, very good experience at 2 over par. He won his first European Tour event at the end of last month, which took him into the top 20 in the race to Dubai. He's gone from outside the top 1,500 in the world to 81st in 2 years. It's been some rise for the young man from Bath, and he's certainly having a great experience around Quail Hollow. He'll be back tomorrow to see if he can go even higher up that leaderboard. So 2 over par for Jordan Smith, and he's been speaking to Rishi.
Jordan, making it through to the weekend, obviously a big deal, but now you're still involved and you're doing quite well. How do you sum up what's gone on over the first 3 days?
No, I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've loved it. It's been a great experience. Obviously, it's been one of my goals since I started playing golf. It's obviously playing my first major, and it's been everything I've expected and above. So no, it's been awesome.
The last few years have gone quite well for you in terms of the progression. Have you been able to take it all on board, or is it something that you've always expected and had that ambition?
To be honest, I still have to sort of pinch myself and sort of realise what's been happening. But no, but just I've had nothing to complain about. It's been a really nice journey, and just hopefully I can keep it going.
And do you set yourself any particular targets as to where you need to be, where you want to be?
Not really. My main goal just this week was just go out and enjoy myself. Managed to make the cut, even though I made it difficult, but that was always a nice bonus. And now the goal for tomorrow is to try and finish top 15 to get an invite back next year.
I guess one of the things that people often ask about young players when they get into the situation of a major is what they learn. So what have you discovered in the first 3 days?
That I've just got the game to compete. It's a tough course out there, as you can see by the scores, but no, yeah, I've just learned that if I go out and enjoy myself, then I'll play good golf. So just go out and do that.
Well, some good golf already this week. Hopefully there's more to come on Sunday. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, cheers, thank you.
Cheers, thank you so much.
One for the future there. I think he's going to be a bright star. Now Rory McIlroy at the 15th, 4 over par. Come on, come on, come on. Beautiful shot. And a funny day for McIlroy. In and out, up and down. Few birdies, too many bogeys. Have to face all the barrage of questions tonight and tomorrow and next week. What happened? What went wrong? Why didn't you do 465? It's hard to keep your temper sometimes.
Dylan Fratelli on 17. Not sure, was that his ball? Not sure it was. Cameramen haven't missed too many balls this week.
Daniel Summerhays. He couldn't hold this, could he? Tell you what, oh no, he can't. Good putt though from such long range. It always reminds me of those sort of crown green bowlers and so on that roll up so beautifully time and time again.
Par 5 10th, a real birdie chance for the guys. Kisner.
Swings a bit like Willett, doesn't he? Danny Willett, that rather quick rhythm and away, but it's he's having better results than Master Willett at the moment. That's okay.
Third shot for Stroud, still deep in the clag and having to heave it out. Oh, well, that got a nice little skip forward. Not too bad from there at all. Well, depending how far it wanders off, but that's fine.
Jason Day. Ooh, has he lost it to the right? Clattered in there. So, oh, there it goes. Oh, he's lucky. I think he's on the walkway.
And now Stroud's birdie putt. We haven't seen many made from this distance. Players struggling with pace, generally just sort of rolling them up somewhere within a 2-foot circle.
Out in 33, starts back with a par. A hard-earned par, it must be said. Groves, Texas, won last week to qualify. Only one PGA win, playing in his first major. We got several competitors here playing in their first major championship. This is always interesting to see their reactions, what they think of it. Are they overawed, or do they come out with comical statements like, well, why just treat it like another tournament? Well, it ain't like another tournament. It has special things about it.
Dillette to make his eagle at 14, and he makes it. So back to level for the day. Third two of the round. Sounds though he's got a few Canadians cheering him on.
Fowler, 11th. East decent for a birdie. This would be a nice one to roll in. He's had a few trials and tribulations today. But this would ease a little bit of the pain. Just tickle it down the left side. Oh, you overdid it. Oh, that was a jerk, wasn't it? Oh.
Justin Thomas. This ball sitting down reasonably too. It's like the sunnier it gets, the more the grass sort of swallows the ball. Probably not true, but certainly encouraging the grass to grow, which will make the grain even stickier for these players.
Well, this is the last group who started at 2 o'clock here US time, and I must say they're playing well, they're playing like, I don't know, 3 fellas over 100 years old. Quite extraordinary. Now you could take 3 hours to hear, but there we are.
Yeah, not helped by the weather, having to no starters times in amongst the group, so a big hold up on the 6th tee didn't help, but even allowing for that, they are just creeping along. It's not ready golf, is it? Matsuyama hoping to do a little better than Kisner. I'm hoping to get his game into some sort of shape today. Be out in level is a brilliant performance. It'd be just like him to come back in 4 under and lead. It is the secret of golf to get round when you're playing badly, and that's another shocker. Both sides, of course, the bad shots have been going. And a horrible chip from there.
Chris Stroud. Trying to take it just beyond those 2 left-hand bunkers. That's a very good position.
These readouts they give on the apex of the ball, everything seems to be between 100 and 140 feet.
Except for Kevin Kisner. He flights it at about 91. Very low ball flight.
Oh, but that's only sort of a few feet difference.
I know, but it is, you know,
yeah.
accuracy is everything, Mark.
But also, yeah, but not much difference between
No.
a 7-iron and a driver.
No. And Jason Day's had a couple of wayward tee shots. It's the low hooky one now. That could do well. Oh, that's a bit of it. That's a decent angle, but not much green to work with. Very tidily done by DJ.
Ricky Fowler for his birdie on 11. Sort of settled into strings of pars, Ricky Fowler. He dropped one at the first, has made a couple of birdies, so 1 under for the day.
Now will Rory attack this back left-hand flag? Ideally suited to his shape of shot. And that's one of the few we've seen beyond the flag.
Chris Wood, front left tight pin at 17, water front and left. Cracker from Chris Wood. That'll put him a couple under for the day and level par for the championship. Currently 17th. So the same number of people under par as at the start of the day now.
A familiar figure of Patrick Reed. Ooh. That's all right. This is one of the short par 4s. Tricky little chip there, but good chance of a birdie coming up.
Front pin for Jason Day to pitch to, all about the lie. If he can get spin on it, it's a simple shot. And he can, and it was beautifully played.
Justin Thomas. Well steered home. Quite a mixed bag there for Thomas.
Oh, there won't be too much spin on that, but it hit really soft, despite it pitching down grain. So a little unlucky there for Kevin Kisner.
And the 10th somewhere, you really feel you've got to pick up a shot, otherwise you're losing ground on the field. As we look back down to Chris Stroud. Quite an upright rehearsal. Flag fairly central here. Oh, and that's a very fine shot. He's been a professional now for about 10 years and he had several trips to the qualifying school.
Yes, he's making it count now though, isn't he? But back to Matsuyama. Tricky chip from right of 10. No, well, it'll stay up at least. Difficult. The grain all against him on that bank. Ball juddering to a halt.
Well, now the lie looks quite decent here for Oosthuizen. You've got to feel he's feeling the effects of that strapped right forearm. Took on an adventurous shot at the second and had a little bit of an argument with the tree root. Oh, and that was beautifully controlled. Really good contact on that, precision striking. Launched it high, just landed so softly.
Well, this for birdie. Still off the green. Oh, what a good try from Kisner. He's hit some lovely putts today. Only made one birdie, but what a solid performance.
You know, it was in 2013 that he considered giving up, and one of his friends persuaded him to go and see a new coach, John Tillery. And Kevin said that he himself was never a decent ball striker, but he's always had a wizard short game. And John Tillery has just made him the player that he is now. He's 26 in the world, so although he mightn't be familiar to many viewers in the UK, he's no mean operator.
Interesting. Matsuyama for birdie. Wondering if the conversation went more like, I think I might give up, and his mate says, you're rubbish at everything else, you might as well change coaches.
It's well you weren't his mate, isn't it?
It is. Oh, nope. Oh, you can see the ball just wavering a bit. Had to hit it so slowly and softly down that slope.
DJ on the last. Yes, and that's in for a 73. There's the scorecard, +3.
Well, from the worst position of the three players off the tee, Day has the most makeable birdie putt, a mere 4 or 5 feet. Shouldn't be a huge amount on it. Slightly up, maybe left half or something. Whoa, look at that. That's Missoura. Ball to about 220 degrees the other day. That's another one.
But you know, as you just said, Matsuyama's ball was moving so slowly that it couldn't hold any line. Then you try to give it a touch more, and it just spins off the rim.
That really did look a good putt. It just edged left at one point and shouldn't have done. '99th PGA Championship.
Not a huge amount of movement happening on the leaderboard. Still Kevin Kisner out on 9 under par. Scott Brown, one of his good friends, they're neighbours actually in South Carolina. He's 2 under par. Tony Finau amongst those on level par, 1 under today. JB Holmes, though, he's had a good round, 4 under par today. It takes him back to 1 over. A little further down there's Jordan Smith, who we heard from earlier, 1 under par, making his major debut here this week and having a very good week indeed. Rory McIlroy, 3 over par, just finishing off his round, the same score of Jordan Spieth, 3 over, and John Ram, who was right up there at the start of today. He had a great start to his round. He's now back to level par and 3 over in the clubhouse. Dustin Johnson, world number 1, 73 today, 4 over par for the championship alongside US Open champion Brooks Koepka.
McIlroy. Can't be much more than a 9 iron or a little 8 in here.
Well, body language said left. Didn't see any ripples. Gosh, that excellent shot from out the rough just failed to release. Oosthuizen for birdie, but good strike. He'll remain at -5 now. Matsuyama. I don't know where this one's going to go, Maureen. He's been all over.
Remember, on A Question of Sport, they used to have a series of questions where they'd freeze the action and say, what happened next? Well, that one surely is splitting the fairway. It's a huge tee shot down to the narrowest part. Yes, it's rather unnerving for the rest of the field when we feel that Matsuyama hasn't really played well, and he's still right up there, just one off the lead, held by Kisner.
I think you're being kind. He's playing total rubbish. It's miraculous. Just can't help feeling he'll suddenly turn it on. Dave's not exactly ripping it either. He's one over today. Oh, straight in the beach.
Stopped on him. Only wanted another 2 or 3 turns, and that would have eased its way right down to the hole side.
Aiken loves you!
Kevin Kisner looking a little bit anxious, drifting down the right.
I don't know whether he looks calm or startled. He has that sort of... Oh, hello. Scott Brown, in she goes. Going along very nicely.
It's a humid day out there, but it's quite pleasant for golf. Not too much breeze around. All the leaves moving on the branches.
Matsuyama's continuing his rather weird and wonderful way through this round. He's only dropped 1 stroke, had 1 birdie, yet everything's appeared to be a struggle. Nearly every shot he's hit, his body language afterwards has been, oh, where's that gone? I happened to hit it in the middle. It's taking longer and longer to get settled.
Tough fairway to find this one, even if you're on song.
George Corley!
Oh, that must be good. If those tracks are anything to believe. Yeah. 315, that one. Feeling better, got one away at last.
Louis, whose second shot looked quite decent, didn't quite carry far enough, so this is his third at the 12th, up the little tier in the green. Go on, run it out. Level par for the day, 1 birdie, 1 bogey, very steady.
Justin Thomas. A long putt here for a birdie. Swinging round to the left. And past and on and on and on and on and on and on. He's coming closer, on and on. That looks as if we're going to go way out to the right, then suddenly started turning, ended up good.
Chris Stroud. There's not a huge break on this putt, a little bit of movement from his left. Save his par. Not much. So stroke goes.
Jason Day. He's been a bit wayward once or twice, and there's another one. He's had a few go left today, rattling in the woods. Oh, they're scampering after that one. He's done well to hold on. 2 bogeys, 1 birdie.
Francesco Molinari got off to a terrible start. 6-5-5, double bogey, bogey, bogey. Battling back, and very well done. Changed this putting grip last week.
Fowler. No, it's too high. Drops a shot at 13th.
Hardly a zephyr of breeze. That's how it all looks at the moment. Kevin Kisner going along very nicely. 1 under for the day, 9 under. Leads by 1 from Matsuyama. Chris Stroud just dropping a stroke at the 12th. Jason Day also letting 1 slip. That tee shot drifting into the left-hand trees. Casey even par. So a few subpar scores, but no one getting away, and the leaders are sort of backing up a little bit, so it's tightening up.
Well, none of the leaders have really clicked into gear so far. Some good scores, but they're way down the field. They'll improve their chances of getting a decent check, but they're not going to challenge for victory. Oosthuizen after that weakish chip up the green, and he's missed it. Always left.
Familiar figure of Shane Lowry.
DeChambeau at the 18th. Very fast from over that side. Let it go now. Just speeds up another foot past the hole.
Couple of eagles on his card.
There's Patrick Reed now at the 15th. He's 2 under. It's been a hard day for the players. Not weather-wise, it's just the degree of difficulty of the course and the way so many putts have done that. They've looked in all the way and then they've just tiptoed past the edge, which is very, very frustrating.
Pleasant playing conditions. Pretty warm and humid, not much breeze about, very tough pin positions, of course, is really testing everybody.
None of the leaders have really been firing on all cylinders. Some good rounds from those further back, but in all truth, they're not going to be in a position to challenge for victory tomorrow. They're 10 or 11 shots behind. Jason Day here is, well, overnight, right at the top of the leaderboard. He's hit some wayward tee shots, managed to escape so far. He's 5 under, he dropped behind a bit. But he's played several miracle shots just to get back in play. I don't know whether that caught the trees or it went. Have to wait and see. But if he's in there, that's not too good, is it?
Kevin Kisner, the leader, shunting one between the uprights, trying to run it onto this green. Not bad. The story of his day is he's driven pretty accurately. In fact, he's had complete control over his game. Not the longest of hitters, and this is a long course. It's one of the few times he's been struggling.
Only had one bogey, one part. He's done that. Every shot he's hit, he's looked absolutely disgusted, with good reason. I mean, that's a rubbish shot there for a good player.
It's funny, they've been left and right off the tee with his irons, but as you say, he's hanging in there. Ricky Fowler, the story of his days, he had a hot hand on the greens. Overall, played pretty consistently. Currently 4 under, 1 under for his round. Not many subpar scores today. His tee shot of the 14th, a shortish par 4, and he wants this to keep coming round. Further round it comes. You can see that the pin is on the right side there. That's not bad. It's 264 to the front of the green. They put the tee up today, so a shortish par 4.
Chris Stroud. Three birdies, a couple of bogeys. Impassive, I think they call that.
Graham Dillette.
He's having the most extraordinary round.
He's got another, hasn't he?
He has.
Oh!
I mean, it's becoming silly now. He's had about 4 twos and 8 3. Anyway, look at that. Look, last run. He's had 36, starts about 5-6, which is not good. Then he gets a 2 at the short hole, and he holds his second at the par 4. And he's just going on his merry way.
Louis Oosthuizen, who injured his arm playing from under a tree, caught the root and badly jarred it, but he's going along well after having treatment. One of the best tee shots we've seen at the 13th, playing 195, very difficult front pin.
Very attractive layout here, some lovely homes around and about the course, a bit like sort of St George's Hill and Wentworth and those sort of courses where fine villas dotted around. Now here's Day. He's managed to find, Jason Day has managed to find gaps in the trees and done all sorts of things, but it's all a struggle.
Not sure what you can do here. It's 3rd to the par 4 12th and actually playing out sideways. Not too effectively. Sit down.
Into the bunker. He's had a couple of perilous stances on the edge of bunkers. He's letting it slip away with, well, I can't say careless play. He's not intending to be careless, but it's not working for him at this moment. Everything's a struggle.
Well, he's hooking off the tee. He's had 3 or 4, maybe 5 hooks off the tee. He's been lucky so far because there's some gaps in the trees. Last 3 groups combined. +7, are currently +1, so they're improving. Now this is a very high tariff coming off the Bermuda, the tight Bermuda fringe. The ball could bobble up the slope and then it turns hard to the right. Anything inside of, well, 4 feet's a goodie. Through the valley, up the other side. Go on. Well, okay.
Some familiar names going through at the bottom of your screens there with their score for the day. Stenson, Stern, Sterny, Stricker. Oh, new boy, Chris Stroud with this interesting putting style. Oh, well, perhaps back to the drawing board. Don't know what happened there.
Extremely well supported this week. 45,000 spectators out every day. A shelter from the rain yesterday.
Ah, he's all right. He can stand. He had a couple of these, but he couldn't get a proper stance to the ball. Had to try and conjure up a little bit of magic, but this looks pretty straightforward. Little 6 or 7 iron, little bump along the ground. Slopes and speed and grain, a lot of grain on these greens.
Lou Stazen. Go on, keep turning. Oh, and 3 putts. Well, that was a very tricky one. From 5 or 6 feet, all of which have slid past the edge the last half a dozen holes.
Matsuyama, horrible shot from this peculiar fluffy rough, which is, well, we've seen so many shots like that, you don't quite give it enough and it goes halfway. Bermuda grass, they call it. It's like parsley to me. It's a thick parsley. The ball goes right to the bottom. You try to hit a good enough length of swing, but it just didn't have enough power through the shot. Trying to land it right on the edge just to dribble it up onto the green. Made to look rather silly.
Fowler's second to the 14th. Remember, it's a par 4. It's a beauty. Oh, he's a glorious wedge player. Plays all sorts of shots. A little bit like Garcia. Low grabbers, floaters. And it was a little gem. Little Ricky been cheered on. Had a chance at the US Open to win. I'd be interested to see what he tries to do here. There's a few options. You could putt it.
I think he will, Ken. This is Stroud. The end of the putter's nearly up his nostril here, and he's got this peculiar cack-handed grip, but it works.
He won last week on the PGA Tour, the Barracuda Championship. Now, what's he going to do? I think he's got some loft on this.
I think you're right, Ken. I thought he might have putted it.
Could blade it. It looks simple, unless he's got an absolutely perfect lie. You can stab these in front of yourself. So you see how it just settles down in the grass? Not too bad, that one.
See how spongy it is behind? That's the problem. Played it nicely. Steady, steady.
He sort of intentionally just hit it a little bit clean, a little bit thin to make sure he didn't fluff it. World number 3, Hideki Matsuyama, having an amazing season. Won last week, closed out with a 61. Japan's #1 golfer.
I think it would be a very good thing if he were to win this championship. Looking back over the years, the amount of effort and technology that Japanese golfers put into the game, I think it would be a terrific boost for them to have a player, really world-renowned player. I think it would be very, very nice. Rather like it would have been good if Van der Velde had won in many ways. No detriment to Paul Lawrie, but good for the game if you're being rather romantic.
Can Kisner save his par? He can he? Oh, jeepers, it actually rocked forward and rocked back.
That's the sort of thing we've seen all day today. Balls hovering on the edge. There's he out in 34. In old money, he's now level 4s. This game started at 2 o'clock over here. That would have been 7 o'clock with you. So you can see they ain't exactly speedy. But we don't worry about that. We pontificate, but nothing ever happens.
18th and Rory McIlroy for his par. .72, 72, 73 for +4. Just can't quite get it going this week.
Very consistent, but now he has to face the barrage of, well, what went wrong? Now, Jason Day, this to drop only 1 shot. Two 2 shots. Oh, expensive. 1 miserable drive. 2 shots gone. Now down to only 3 under.
Now the leading 3 stretching away. Chris Stroud 7 under. Matsuyama 8 under. Kisner 8 under. The next best 4 under. Just to let another one go for Hideki. Yesterday he was holding these just for fun, but a little bit more tricky for him today. Pops it in. Putter, new putter he picked up last week. As I say, closed with a 61 to win the Bridgestone.
Well, the 12th hole, not a friend to the leaders. Kisner bogeyed it to go back to 8 under, but then Matsuyama followed suit. He has moved back to 7 under. Chris Stroud also bogeyed it. He is still 7 under, though, alongside Matsuyama. Graham Delat, what a fantastic round he is having today. Back-to-back eagles on the back 9. 3 under today, 2 under for the championship. And here's Shane Lowry on the 17th.
Struck it well, and oh, it didn't run out. See, against the grain, you get so many putts down grain that dribble on and on and on and on, and you get one when you're mentally adjusted to just tapping it when you've got to hit it. I know you should be able to differentiate between fast and slow, but it wears you down a bit. There he goes. He looks like Beef Johnson's brother, or cousin, I should say. Would they be cousins, do you think?
I don't know.
It's the shape and the beard. A generous shape.
Ryan Moore flipping one up into the air. And lands it very nice and softly. 15.
Alex Noren, 5 over. He was better than that an hour or so ago. Dangerous little stream runs up the left-hand side of this green. Oh, right at the target. That's a good shot. But it rolls off against the edge there. See that? Oh, gee. That was cruel, cruel, cruel.
Looked like it went down a plug hole, didn't
it? Yeah. Down the plug hole. Oh, frustration, frustration.
Here is a look at the 18th. Uphill. The tee shot's fairly level, but the second shot uphill, little stream runs down the left side, bunker down the right, playing 477 yards. Second uphill, water just stays down that left side, but the pin today is in the most awkward spot. 6 on, 4 from the left, just in that front left corner. Very difficult to get at. Hardest hole by a mile. That front slope as well. It's just in that left corner. Not a birdie on it so far.
Now our leader, Kisner. This could be good. Indeed.
Ricky Fowler. Will be a big cheer if this goes in. And in she goes, 5 under for little Ricky. He's going to win a major sometime, but who knows when. Matsuyama can hit the ball miles in the air if he so chooses. Pin just 4 over the left trap, playing 195 yards.
And they feel compelled to shout something. He finds the green.
Sit down.
Oh no, this is silly, isn't it? I'll have to write to the Times about this. It's not on. That wasn't a bad shot half a minute ago. Chris Stroud. Playing with Molinari and Oosthuizen. He's 7 under. Molinari 2, Oosthuizen 4. Not many having a go at this one, Ken.
Well, water down the left, it's quite a narrow entrance, yeah, but it's manageable. Right, can Jason get a nice crisp iron away? Setting up for a draw, teed up on the left side of the block. Oh no, he's got the hooks going today. And that looks, well, the lie's not very nice, but he's got a bank to come up, then it levels out, little tricky chip. Casey 3 under. Graham Gillette, what a run he's had.
There's Lowry, 17th. 3 over par.
Took a 6 here yesterday, remember?
I know, it was a cruel 6, but he's not liking this much either. Steady. Oh, it may be okay, The weight of the ball may have dragged it through the fluffy grass into the water.
An eagle chance for Kang. 15th, a reachable par 5. Not bad. Birdie to 14th. 14 and 15 are real chances before you move into the green mile 16, 17 and 18, which are 3 brutal holes. Kang to 2 under.
Tony Finau. This is a little delicate one up the hill. Oh, hard bounce. Gone about 10 feet by.
One of the most accurate players in the game, Francesco Molinari. Will he take a chance and try and drive the green?
Well, you don't want to be too far right of the green. You're left with a horrible pitch. Oh, yes. That's just where we didn't want him to go. He looked down from there to where the flag is, the slope. And if you're a bit sharp, you go, oh, Lowry was lucky, Ken.
He's got a most awful lie. Little ridge to come up. This is a bit hit and hope. If anyone can do it, Shane could be the man. Where's this one gone? Oh, he hates this hole.
No, I don't think he'll want to take this one home for Christmas. Noren, undeservedly, played a nice shot, spun away down the hill, and he's in the cabbage, only a foot off the green.
Might do well to green it.
Well, it was some sort of nervous heave with the shoulders.
Sit down.
But it's worked out not bad.
From right of the 13th. Hideki should run out a bit. Have that to save his par.
Jay. Doesn't look too bad from here. Let's see with the length of backswing, how hard he hits it. Oh, he tried to play with the top one. He's done it well. A little run on. That was nearly very, very good. But you see, it gets over the top. It's only just stopped now. Oh, it's so frustrating when you're just a bit off.
Nicely positioned, Chris Stroud. Played the percentage off the tee. Little pitch into this short par 4 14th. He's got some spinning. It'll skid first before it does. Oh, that's a beauty. Look at that. Ooh, dancing, baby. Perfect. Very satisfying.
Fowler. 15th tee. Oh, not in there, surely.
No, not in the water,
He's
is it?
pointing up there somewhere.
Certainly clipped the tree, and the marshal seemed to point left, but you never know. Kisner by one from Matsuyama and Stroud.
Kisner for a birdie. Good view. Didn't hit it very hard. That's swinging left, straightened up. It's in. It's stopped short. Oh, had about 4 choices there in about 3 foot. Left, right, centre, in, miss, left. Oh, those greens, those greens.
It was a bit of a wandering minstrel, wasn't it, going down the hill? I see again, it hits that pitch mark there, it sends it right, and then it seems to dawdle left. Now you think it's in.
And it goes left, and it,
Oh.
you think it was top of back, you know, it dribbles off. I don't want to go down there. Thank you for that. We must apologise for some poor behaviour. A day for a par.
Oh. Grayson Murray. 15th eagle chance, and he must have it, surely. You've got to make something out of the 14th and 15th today. 3 under. Day nudges in for a bogey at the short 13th. It was double bogey to drop to 2 under. Those snowy white bunkers have got exactly the same sand as they have at Augusta National. 3rd round coverage from Quail Hollow. The final major championship of the year, the 99th PGA Championship. Welcome back, Maureen. Maureen Medill in the box with me.
Well, Ken, what a feast we have been watching over the last few hours. The players have been tested to their absolute limit. This is earlier on. Ricky Fowler came out hitting the ball very well, very aggressive in the putts. Said he was going to have a conservative game plan, just chooses his times, when to attack, when to defend.
Justin Thomas hit a fair few decent shots as well. He's currently at 4 under. And watch this one dancing. Ooh, yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely. Little ledge on the back of the green. He managed to stop the ball on it. I've seen some good stuff, but it's been a bit give and take.
And just watch Oosthuizen here. I think he might hit a root. Shakes the right arm. That led to him having a fair bit of physio treatment while he was on the golf course. And you'll see now that he has that arm fairly heavily strapped.
He was lucky. There was a big delay on the 6th tee. Gave him a chance to get some. There he is, getting a bit of treatment.
Yes, I thought at first it might be the wrist, but that would indicate that it's a little bit further up the arm. But did it make any difference? Oh, almost, almost.
Nudged that in for a birdie. Eagle chance at 7. Jason Day started off by holding some very nice saving putts from short range, 5-6 footers to hold the ground together. Also hit some good iron shots, but he's been hitting a few hooks off the tee, a few too many, and eventually it's caught him out.
Matsuyama, his putting has been a revelation over the last 6 months. Used to be the weakest part of his game. That one coming up just a little shy, but he would tap that in for birdie.
Chris Stroud been just tiptoeing along very consistently, not making any silly errors. He's currently at 7 under, 1 under for the day. This was a nice little putt too at number 8. He birdied the 7th and tickled another one at number 8. Took him out to 33. He's dropped 1 stroke since then. 1 under for the round, 7 under.
Kisner, the man who started out in front. Many thought he would wobble. He has had other ideas.
That's his only birdie of the day, which came at the 7th. Very consistent, all pars on the front nine. Took him out to 34. So he's just dropped the 1 stroke. In fact, Kisner's only dropped 4 strokes all this week, so he's at the top at the moment, 8 under.
That looks like the putter of Chris Stroud. Indeed it is. And this man who bounced around at the qualifying school for so many years just decided 6 months ago that he wouldn't put any pressure on himself to win. What did he do? He won last Sunday for the first time, and here he is up at the top end of a major championship.
This is a fabulous hole, this one. It's the 14th. Off the back tee, it's 350 yards, but the tee's shoved right forward, 301 yards to the flag, 264 to the front. That gives you an idea of it. Water left all the way down the front, narrow entrance. You've got to decide, are you going to have a go at it, or you just lay up and pitch in? He's not the longest, so I think this looks like the sort of layout option. Well, it's got a nice firm bounce. He's made it, you know. Perfect shape, hit the right part of the fairway and trickled on the front edge. That's 268 yards. Very nice.
Very much a percentage play there, wasn't it? Now Matsuyama he's had a touch of the rights with the driver. But if you watch as he goes down through the bag to the shorter clubs, he does not have such a pronounced pause at the top of his swing. By the time he gets to a wedge, there's no pause at all.
Uh-oh. He's going to have a huge amount of luck here, and he has.
Oh gosh, when that was in the air, I think he would have taken that ending up in the bunker. Huge pressure on him. Japan's a golf-mad country. They're looking for their first male major winner.
Jason Day's got a driving iron on that he can carry easily, 260 yards. It's that sort of Johnny Wilkinson method, focuses on. I've got a clear picture of what I'm trying to do here. Here, straight in the water, according to the track man. Oh, it's snagged on the bank. Very nice. He won't know that massive break mooring.
Oh gosh, that's amazing.
Well, 2 rounds of 72 this week for McIlroy, heading into today, 2 over par and 10 shots back. He needed something special, but he just didn't quite get it. 2 bogeys on the front 9, a birdie at the par 5 7th to go out in 36. Then a similar up and down back 9 on the wrong side of par, and he'd signed for a 73. So let's hear from the Northern Irishman.
Rory, your thoughts on your performance on day 3?
Yeah, sort of the same as the first couple of days. I'm struggling to get anything going, struggling to get any sort of momentum. You know, I was 2 over through 5 or through 6 again today, so not the start I wanted to get off to. And when you get off to a start like that around here, it's tough. You know, you've got some birdie chances, but you really need to. You're putting yourself under pressure then to try to make them. So. It was okay. I felt like I battled well out there, even though I shot 2 over par. So hopefully sign off with a good one tomorrow.
What can you do tomorrow? I guess a lot of people think, well, maybe the shackles off, no expectations on the final day. Go for it.
I've been trying to go for it the last 3 days, believe me. So it's a tough golf course. You know, it's tough to get a really low score going. Obviously, some guys yesterday afternoon got it low with after the rain, but. Even today, the conditions are pretty tough. I think 4 under is the best score in there at the minute, and it's just tough to go low out there. So hopefully I can find a low one tomorrow, and as I said, sign off on a positive note.
A lot of people often talk about you and all your talents and think about the fact that so much is expected of you. We obviously watch and think, oh, there's a bit of frustration there. How much of that do you feel when you're out on the golf course?
No. I mean, I know I can get better out of myself, that's for sure. Not just this week, but that's sort of been a story for most of the year. But no, I mean, I'm staying patient as I can. I'm not trying not to get frustrated out there, because that frustration will only lead to more bogeys and more mediocre play. So I'm trying to stay as positive as I can. And this week I've done that. I haven't got upset at myself. I haven't got angry. I just haven't played good enough golf.
And the last thing is that you can imagine there's a lot of speculation about maybe you've still got carrying a little bit of an injury with the rib or whatever. I mean, is that a factor at all when you're out there?
It's not a factor when I'm out on the course, but it's a factor when I'm off it in terms of how much I can practice and how much time I can put into it. So it's tough. It's catch-22, because I want to play and I can play, but I can't put the practice in that I need to maybe get myself up in contention. So we'll see where I go from here. I'll play tomorrow, assess my options for the rest of the year, and I've still got a few big tournaments left. It's just whether I play in all of them or I take a little bit of time off to try and get 100% healthy.
All right, as always, really appreciate the time. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
No worries.